Welcome back to the AME Food Safety Show. As the music says, we will rock you. What does that mean? I'll change you. I'll change your world. I'll give you an earthquake. Why? It's a wake-up call, folks. A wake-up call to disaster. There's a conspiracy out there right now, and it wants you to buy as much product as you can, and they don't really care about your health. They don't really care. If I were to ask you 40 years ago, do cigarette or tobacco producers care about your health? You'd probably say, yeah, hey, they're really nice people, and everybody smokes in the movies. They care. If I were to ask you now, do cigarette producers care about your health? You better respond no. We're talking about secondary smoke. We're talking about your children getting cancer. What I'm talking about right now is a conspiracy beyond belief, and it is encapsulated in the following term. High-fructose corn syrup. It's poison. It's everywhere, and it's put in the food to induce you to buy. The effects are horrid. On this slide, you will see on the far left-hand side the actual ingredient, the chemical formulation of high-fructose corn syrup. It's not sugar. Sugar is sucrose. High-fructose corn syrup is a chemical composition made by food chemists to induce you to eat whatever their products are. There are different names for it in Europe and Canada. Canada, it's called glucose-fructose. In Europe, it's called glucose, fructose. Look for those names. That's an artificial substance to induce you to buy. I call it fraud in the inducement because it means if you look at the ingredients, HFCS, high fructose corn syrup, 55 is found in many products. And what we're looking at is primarily what we call soft drinks. 55% fructose, 42% glucose. Anything sweet to get you to buy more. HFCS 42 is in processed foods, cereals, baked goods, anything you see on that chart on the right-hand side. It's even put in liquor. We're going to talk about it for a minute. If you have diabetes, wake up. Next slide. What's the truth about high fructose corn syrup? Does it really come from corn? A lot of it does. Corn, the kernel, has a lot of beneficial elements for food scientists to exploit. And the syrup part, the sweetness of it, is one of them. The top 10 foods. Let's look at this chart. See if you've consumed any within the last 48 hours. Yogurts, breads, frozen pizza, cereal bars, cocktail peanuts, boxed macaroni and cheese, salad dressing, tomato-based sauces, applesauce, canned fruit. Well, what's the harm in all that? That sounds pretty healthy to me. The challenge is it's being linked directly to obesity, diabetes, and metabolic dysfunction. What's the challenge, Andy? Why are you bothering me about that? I'll tell you the reason. The reason is you may have obesity, or your children may have obesity, or anybody that's around you that's eating it. Cardiovascular disease, what is that? That's a fancy word for saying you're going to have heart problems. The heart will not function if it's clogged. Diabetes, we already talked about that. There are different phases of it. Some of you may have to just be watching your food. Others may have to take injections. Others might have to monitor daily by a blood sample. If you want that, go for it. Eat as much as you can. Now, the critics of it is that this food sweetening agent of highly processed foods is harmful. I remember being an athlete. I was a runner. And there were people eating candy bars before a race, which was great. Gave them a little extra boost at the beginning, but they fell apart at the end. The challenge is when you add up 10, 20, 30 years of high fructose corn syrup, you will have challenges. One of them is weight gain. Who doesn't have challenges with weight gain? Look around. And your normal appetite functions. I see children eating high fructose corn syrup products in between meals, and what happens when they get in front of a healthy plate that you've prepared? I'm not hungry. Why? Because the rush of high fructose corn syrup. I worked at McDonald's as a young man, and I asked the question, why is it that when I make a biscuit at home, it doesn't come out all browned like the McDonald's hamburger buns do? And the manager is actually a regional manager, said, Andy, that's obvious. Our buns have brown sugar. Everything here has sugar. Next slide. All right, let's look at the facts. Look at what they're disclosing to you first, and then we'll take that analysis. Coca-Cola products, I'm picking on one company, Pepsi, all the others. Look at the labels. It all has high fructose corn syrup. If you learn anything from this show, anything from me as a human being to you, start reading the labels. Start looking for the bad bugs, the bad elements. That's one of them. Now, if you look like the guy on the right, or if you're headed in that direction, wake up. It causes obesity and disease. A child's typical breakfast, if your kid is crying every morning for cereal and it's one of these high fructose corn sugary products, think about it. Also think about the idea of juice boxes, yogurt, how about bread snacks, crackers, some carrots that are artificially induced with this sweetener, and salad dressing. Might just skip the salad dressing once in a while. It's an inducement. What is an inducement? It's like a fraud. It gives you a false lead. You might as well take a teaspoon of sugar. And it gives you an inducement to eat non-valuable calories. Look at the labels, my friends. Next slide. All right. Some products out there are awakening to a growing market of heightened individuals in their knowledge. We call these no high fructose corn syrup products. And it'll be right on the label. It's a marketing ploy. Yes. It's part of your health regime as well. No high fructose corn syrup. Look for if you want to give fruit snacks or eat them, look for that. Look at your children. Do you want them to be obese monsters? Because what they eat at home as children will be what they'll be eating for the rest of their lives. Next slide. Start to read the labels. You know, it may shock you. I did find this, and I want to share it with everybody that's buying these products. Jenny Craig. It has high fructose corn syrup in their products. Not all of them, but look at the label. You may find it. You may shock yourself. Well, if they're trying to help me to reduce weight, why are they giving me more? That's a question you have to answer yourself, and how you spend your money, how you spend your time, how you invest in your body. Next slide. This is one of the tragedies of our current generation. Look at children in elementary, junior high, and high school. I call them monsters. Not because I was an athlete at college and high school and in other times, but to me, when I see that enlarged under the chin fat pocket, it tells me a lot about the person, that they are consuming high fructose corn syrup in extended quantities. It's not just one day having a soda. I look at men walking around that I interchange with, and yes, you can call them love handles if you want. I call them death handles. And it's not just somebody healthy. That's something that's happening to everybody. What has it been associated with? I'm going to talk about it again until I'm blue in the face, and it's hard to do for me. I'm a little darker complexion than most. Obesity, that's a horrible word. It means you overeat. You're taking in useless calories in your body, storing them, primarily sugars. Blood pressure, insulin resistance, small dense LDL, cholesterol, it's a horrible word, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. If you're suffering one of these, I'll give you a stop-start. Stop eating it, start eating healthy. Next slide. All right, the start-stop again. Stop eating or ingesting, because you're not really eating it. You're just dumping it into your body to be stored. High fructose corn syrup. Can I say it again? Stop ingesting high fructose corn syrup. It'll kill you. Let's look forward to the next segment, which I'll talk about foodborne illnesses. How do you feel? And this program is about food safety. That's what we're going to be focusing on, as long as I'm paying for this show, on getting everybody to start taking care of themselves. And not consuming high fructose corn syrup is one of them. Go to your shelves. Take everything out of your shelves that has high fructose corn syrup. Thank you. Let's look forward to the next segment.